Hi, welcome to another edition of the Free Exchange of Ideas. So today I'm going to talk about a new bill in California. It's being introduced in California. I think they said somewhere in this article, they said it had to be, the bill itself had to be introduced by February 16. That was the cutoff date. But I really just want to read this to you because I'm uncomfortable with it. Not as a property owner, because I don't rent any of my property, but as somebody who has lived in California their whole life, except the time I was out for the military. I've been here the entire time, and I am ambivalent about this. I'm not really sure how to think of it just yet. I mean, there's a couple of things that I think about it, but let me just read this to you. A new California bill seeks to bar landlords from banning pets in their rental units. So they could say, no, you can't have dogs, you can't have cats. I guess you can have fish if you can keep them in the thing. I don't know. I've never actually had this issue because for the longest time while I was renting, I didn't have any animals, so it wasn't something I had to worry about. But let me just get into the article. A new bill before the California legislature would make it easier for pet owners to rent housing both for themselves and their best friends. Assembly Bill 2216, authored by Matt Haney, a Democrat from San Francisco, would prohibit landlords across the state from instituting blanket bans of common household pets in their rental units. The bill defines common household pets as domesticated animals such as a cat or dog that are kept for personal instead of commercial purposes. In a news release about the bill, Haney said the measure should help address the state's housing crisis. He argued that building more housing won't solve that crisis if tenants who own pets are denied a place to live because of pet bans. Trying to put my thoughts together in a linear fashion so you'll understand what I'm saying. The property owner pays the bills on the property. If you want to rent from them, you must follow their rules. I mean, quid pro quo. You want an animal, you got to pay a little extra for it. There's a pet deposit, and there's also what's called pet rent, where they, if your rent is say $750 a month, they add another $50 on for the pet, or $100. I don't really know. Again, never had that issue. And that's what they do now. Haney's, I'm sorry. Let's see. The majority of renters in our state, pet owners, are denied accessibility to the majority of rental units, Haney said in the release. That makes no sense at all, and it's dramatically exacerbating the housing crisis. I don't think that's what's exacerbating the housing crisis, to be honest. I don't think that's the thing. But he does go on to say, or the press release goes on to say, that of the 17 million families and individuals renting in the Golden State, close to 12 million, or 70%, are pet owners. I don't know where they get this number. They don't cite their source. So take that number with a grain of salt. He also estimates that blanket pet bans have led to more than 829,000 tenants across California secretly keeping a pet in their unit. Again, they don't cite their source, and so I have trouble buying these numbers just without thought. Pardon me. Haney told KQED, a local PBS station, that when his staff scoured postings on the real estate website Zillow, they discovered that only 20% of listings in San Francisco allowed pets. In Los Angeles and Sacramento, those figures were 26 and 18% respectively. A quarter of the listings don't allow pets. Oh no, allowed pets. Almost a quarter. A quarter in Los Angeles, under a fifth in Sacramento, about a fifth in San Francisco. The three major cities, well, according to the government. This is from SFGate, and I will link it below. Though the assemblyman also told KQED that the bill he introduced is a placeholder, meaning many of the specifics are not yet in the bill text. He outlined a few specifics he hopes it will cover, February 16 was the deadline for new bills to be introduced during the current legislative session. So this bill is just kind of bare bones right now, and he wants to add stuff to it to either make it fair or unfair for property owners or renters. At this point, it's a little difficult to tell. Apart from nixing blanket pet bans, Haney told KQED that he wants to get rid of the monthly fees that some landlords charge for pets, known colloquially that word, as pet rent, and limit pet deposits. Let me finish this paragraph. The news release from Haney's office also says the bill will allow landlords to inquire about a tenant's pets only after the tenant's application has been approved. So they can't even ask ahead of schedule if they have pets. Well, if you can't ask ahead, how do you agree to rent to them? Because I suppose you could just make a blanket. We have a $50 pet deposit. We have a $100 pet a month rent. If you have pets that do not go to the deposit, the $50 goes to the deposit. The rest does not. It's just rent. And he's basically saying you can't even ask. You don't know if they have pets, and you can't ask if they have pets ahead of saying yes, they are qualified to rent the apartment. Or in essence, you've rented them the apartment, and then they tell you, oh yeah, we have a Great Dane or a Pit Bull or full-blown German Shepherd, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Or they have a couple of tabbies. Doesn't mean anything. You just can't ask them ahead of time. And so I don't know how you could say, well, if you have these pets, then I can't rent to you. But you've already qualified us. You've already said we can rent the place. So I think that comes with a bigger problem. Let's see. Haney also cited a survey of 240 shelters across California that found that 67,881 pets were surrendered to a shelter by their owners. Those shelters reported that the leading cause for owners giving up their pets was a lack of pet-friendly housing, the news release said. The bill, which KQED reported could be the first legislation of its kind in the nation, was sponsored by the Humane Society of the United States. I'm not going to say anything about that. In Haney's news release, Jenny Berg, the BERG, the California State Director of the Humane Society, said that household pets are an integral part of our families. Like health insurance, housing is not a human right in California. It's just not. A judge ruled several years ago that homeless encampments were homes, in essence. And so the Fourth Amendment applied. You can't just pick them up with a bulldozer and move them out. You can't do that. No matter where the encampment is. If it's on a freeway on-ramp, the center in an on-ramp, or along a gully that could flood in good rain seasons or whatever. No, it's their home, and as their home, it gets Fourth Amendment coverage. So if you don't know what the Fourth Amendment was, go way back to the beginning of all my stuff, and we did several of the amendments, the Fourth Amendment being one because it's so big in what police can do, what anyone can do in your home, what you can do in your home as far as protections go. So read up on that. Check that out. Or if I knew how, I'd put it up in the corner, one of these corners, but I don't. So you'll just have to search, or you can just look up the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Let's see. The bill is likely to be opposed by many property owners. Krista Gulbransen, Gulbransen, Executive Director of the Berkeley Property Owners Association, didn't think that was a thing, told KQED that she opposes the bill because of risk. She told the outlet that pets can damage a property, and by prohibiting pet rent and limiting pet deposits, property owners would be on the hook for all that damage, she said. The biggest concern is just not being able to make the determination of risk and make a decision based on that, Gilbranson told the outlet. Haney told KQED that the bill would allow exceptions for landlords. It doesn't yet, but it could allow exceptions for landlords who have a good reason for keeping pets out of their property, such as health and nuisance related allowances. However, Haney told the outlet that his bill would require those landlords to provide documentation outlining their case to a judge or rent board if a tenant contests the policy. There's no rent board right now. Why would you have to go to a judge with this? This was by Alec Regimbal. I'm probably butchering his name, but it's Regimbal. He's a good writer here. In this, at least in this article. So my thought is, even if they limit how much a landlord could bill for animal or for a pet, even if they limit it to quite a bit less than what they're charging now, whatever it may be. Okay, I don't know what that is right now. It's going to cause rental prices to go up. It will literally cause a new homeless problem in California, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. I mean, God knows I'm not perfect. I mean, look at my beard, for God's sake. But I think this is going to cause more problems than it will solve. It could show landlords a way out, a way to make this happen without this bill, because honestly, it's my opinion that California is way overstepping, or at least this legislator is way overstepping their mandate as legislators. This is overstepping, in my opinion, way overstepping, and I'm pretty certain that it will probably go to court if it passes at all. What do you think, though? Do you think renters should be able to bring all of their animals to a new rental, or be limited to how many animals or how large the animal can be? I mean, nobody wants a cow in their house because they're not housebroken. You can't housebreak them. But, would it be prudent to allow somebody to bring their medium-sized dog or their 3 cats or whatever? Parakeets and goldfish, or fish in general, I could see as not being an issue as long as you don't have like one of those 250-gallon tanks and you're on a third floor up, a walk up. But, medium-sized dog up to, say, 40 pounds. I think that's a medium-sized dog. My beagle is fat. I know he's a little larger than normal medium-sized dog, but we're going to start working on that. Nonetheless, we have. I mean, if I had to find a place to rent, there's no way I could do it. I just couldn't. I have too many animals, but I have 2 large yards and a small yard where all of my animals can play. My house where my animals can play, and it's mine, so I don't have to, follow somebody else's stupid rules or whatever. But I think this number, 829,000 tenants across California secretly keeping a pet in their unit. Cats, I think you could probably get away with because they're quiet. A dog, I don't think you could get away with it for very long because they bark and they're, if somebody rings the doorbell and they go ballistic. Oh, you're not supposed to have a dog here, kind of thing. That'll cost you your place of residence currently. And also to say that 17 million families and individuals renting in the Golden State, of the 17 million, 12 million or 70% are pet owners. That, while there are a bunch of pet owners, I mean, there's no doubt California is a cat, dog, pet loving state. I still think that that's probably a wee bit high, maybe more than a wee bit high. Am I shaking this? I am. I'm sorry. I'm shaking my leg because I'm tired and ADHD, and well, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So, tell me what you think, because I'm really curious. If you think this would help you get an apartment, or hinder you from getting an apartment, cost you an apartment because your dog is too big, too small, you have an exotic animal, something like that. Let me know. All right. So don't don't forget. Even fluffy bunnies and have teeth and claws for a reason. I can't believe I screwed that line up. I said it so long. Uh, live long, prosper. Live long, prosper. Live long, fight hard, win the day. It's bad. That's a bad ending, but it's the one I have. See ya. Oh, that's the wrong button. See ya.